And we are live. So welcome to Onions and Flagons podcast. Today Patrick couldn't be with us. He got into a case of mistaken identity in the old world, and he's currently tracking it down, trying to find his ill-gotten inheritance. But in the meantime, we have two guests on today who played through my Enemy Within campaign. So do you want to introduce yourselves? One at a time. Don't all jump the offer.
Aloha, my name is Paddy.
Bit confusing. This is not the same
Patrick Carolyn.
Different Patrick. And
Que pasa, amigo? My name is Fenton. And, hi.
yeah, so both of these lads played through my Enemy Within campaign. So the Enemy Within is like the archetypal, like quintessential Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay campaign. It's been printed for every edition of the game, which is currently on its 4th edition. I've got the book sitting right beside me. It's by Cubicle 7. So the Enemy Within is a long-standing campaign, and the first two books, but have been meshed into one book for the 4th edition, are called The Enemy in Shadows, or The Enemy Within, and then Shadows over Bogenhafen, which are like two separate parts, clear demarcated parts of the story. So to begin with, the first encounter you guys had was what in the book is called Wanted Bold Adventurers. It's basically just like you all start in a tavern and sort of introduce each other. You're showing a few NPCs. So how did you find that?
Well, it was good fun, like. I remember, like, whenever we first started the campaign, I was very confused. Never played Warhammer, any form of fantasy like that before. Yeah. The rules are so different.
Yeah.
Like, so different from just classic D&D, Roll20 or whatever. But no, it was good. Like, you have to roll, what was it again? 100 down. Like,
yeah, D100 roll under.
Yeah, like the better you roll, like the lower you rolled, the better it was. Oh, it was great. Actually, I remember, like, at the start, it was very confusing. Have to, like, remember, like, your failures or else, like, critical failures, or else it was mental. Like, well, good fun.
Yeah, same. I'd played, obviously, fair amount of D&D. I had played 40k before, but I'd never played Warhammer Fantasy. So it was a shift coming to a system where rather than, your successes are rewarded, it's your successes are vaguely acknowledged and your failures are brutally punished. Which, once you get used to it though, it was good fun.
Yeah, like the Warhammer is not so much like D&D. It's almost more like Call of Cthulhu, if you've heard of that system. It's a much more very brutal, very lethal game where it's basically like a dismemberment simulator where there's all these critical fumbles. Every time you hit with a critical, you deal a mortal wound against the opponent, and things like you could slash their eye out, you could like sever an artery and they start bleeding. It's very brutal. It's very realistic.
Was there not one point where I rolled badly and accidentally killed a random child within a 1 mile vicinity?
Something like that did happen, yeah. I suppose we're sort of talking about the system in general, so I could sort of go into that. So, I have tried my best to make a character from scratch, but it is difficult.
I already struggle with D&D as already. I normally just sort of, I would go to using like a name and maybe go with like
an idea.
Use a pre-con and just like sort of flavour it a wee bit or twist it.
Definitely, especially since it was the first time, but it was definitely good having the prefab characters to work with.
Oh, Molly was a god. Like I like, what was it, Malaria Brandy Snap or something was her actual name, but I just called her Molly Brandy Snap because I just could never say her actual name. I remember even whenever we were playing the campaign, I just struggled. I think it was like Malaria or more area or. See, I can't say it, like, no matter...
I sent you the link to your...
Oh, no, I know, I've literally read it like 8 times, I just cannot say it for the life of me.
Yeah, so we use the characters from the starter set. The starter set is actually really handy. There's a lot of really good, like, handouts that... Yeah, okay. Really good, like, handouts for different sort of reminders that are maybe harder to look up in the moment. Sort of like how, like, the different things like fate, fortune, resilience, resolve, all these, like, stats and abilities and extra consumables sort of work. Those cheat sheets were quite good.
Yeah, I was playing Ferdinand Gruber, who's a human wizard, who I referred to as Franz.
That's right, Franz Gruber.
Franz. Well, I was going with Franz Ferdinand, but
I thought you were going with Hans Gruber. Like the entire
there we go. There's
campaign.
layers to it.
The
There's layers.
entire campaign, I genuinely thought that was a Die Hard reference. I thought that was a Die Hard reference right up until
But yeah, that was the first time I'd ever actually played a wizard in any form. So it was fun, even though wizards in Warhammer are also tend to be slightly more melee than other systems such as D&D. The spells, we didn't play the game proper as you're expected to play it, leveling up as you're expected to level up.
Well, like we had no
we
idea.
played it unconventionally,
Well,
we'll
we played
say.
it unconventional.
So I ended up being essentially more of a half-caster wizard. What was my one spell that I used? Sleep. Yes, so that was it. I would cast sleep on them from a distance and then run up and absolutely spike them with my scythe. It worked. It worked.
Yeah, magic in the Warhammer Fantasy world is very different to like the Vancia magic system you get in D&D or basically any other system. Like they have characters that are kind of channelers of a certain type of magic, and then over time, as they become more progress through and invest in themselves and level up as a wizard, they start like taking on physical attributes of the school of magic that they're working in.
I was about to say, there's in the fails of magic. It's been a while since we played that, but whenever you failed, it was like really bad, wasn't it? Like there was like actual like bad things, like mutations and bad things happen.
Yeah, it's part of the corruption mechanic where. Whenever you do a critical fumble, isn't it, on a spell?
Yeah.
That was it,
then you have to roll on a minor and major miscast.
Yeah, no, that was it. You roll in the minor miscast. Oh, no, unless you really, really mess it up, you roll in the minor miscast, and then if you roll in a 99 to 100, then you have to re-roll on the major, which is how I ended up causing children to randomly die.
Well, yeah.
Did I not randomly cause a load of people to combust as well? Spontaneous, but they were standing beside me, so I took a load of damage from them blowing up beside me.
I just got so lucky, because I just chose the Thief because I was like, oh, well, I'll be able to be sneaky, and my character ended up just being a ranger.
Yeah,
I was so overpowered with that bola. Like anything that got hit with that bola was basically one shot or two shot. It was unbelievable. Like
it was ridiculous.
I was taking legs and heads off of people with one or two shots. And it was just. I think I just focused wholly on bola even me level up.
That was the thing.
I remember I always came near enough at the end of the campaign had to go, I pick up all of my ammo too this entire time.
Yeah. No, it was one of those things, the joke, if that's the thing about life, nobody makes it out alive. Nobody makes it, you just have to, your character is not coming out of this the way they went in. You're going to take damage, you're going to end up permanently disfigured, and you just have to be okay. And try and just take as little as possible and be okay with going, well, I only have one horn growing out of my back. I can hide that.
I just do the simple thing like I did. Don't do magic. My character had 6 family members, or 6 ex-husbands and wives, just because you let that fly. Had a pile of children. And I was happy with life. I had none happening to me. This world was apart. I was basically like the orcs, I suppose, in Warhammer 40k. I was the only one having entertainment in this world. Everyone else was struggling.
Yeah, we did quite a fun thing with your character backstory where I basically just chose random NPCs throughout the campaign. And I was like, I think this guy would make a good ex-husband for you.
Yeah.
I was the boatman, wasn't it?
The boatman was one. There was one. I wasn't there for one. I think it was the boatman, wasn't it? I wasn't there for that one. There was another guy who was an ex-husband of mine, and then he's met one of my ex-wives as well.
Yeah. Slut.
Oh man, hey, well, it was a wee halfling who was going nuts. They never specified what they said I had what was it, a pile of wings or whatever, and how old I was and all. So I was like, I'm going to just fly with this.
I remember when we meet other characters and you'd be just chatting them up and you'd be a good number 7.
I remember that. There wasn't even how it worked. I'd literally sit there and Owen and your characters would both look at my character and be like, oh, what's she going to do? And I'd be sitting there going, well, I wasn't going to do anything, but now.
Yeah, so as I said, I've tried making a character and it is not simple. If you're going to be playing this, I would recommend either buying the starter set using those precons, or in every adventure there is a companion book that has like side quests, more information about like it's like a lore
Lore
book
book, basically. Yeah.
It's like a lore book. There's like some side quests, but also that every companion comes with pre-generated characters that are like appropriately leveled up for that adventure. So the Enemy Within in 4th edition is a 5-module series.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a book about, like, say, enemy creature types and stuff, right?
I think some
there's going to be stuff in there about that if it does modules.
Different stuff, yeah. But yeah, I tried making a character. There's like talents and trappings, which are not very intuitive. There's basically lots of different rules for these special abilities, and you just sort of have to know your own. And but as a DM, I had to know all of them, and it was just so much to remember.
I remember we ruled the cool a lot, like because it was just like there was like
could not do it any other way.
You couldn't do it any other way unless you had like all the rules on like a notepad in front of you 24/7. It was still great. I would say like to anybody that does try this game for the first time, be ready to just like drop like a couple of the rules and be ready to not understand like half the game.
Even with the prefab characters, we took them, and as with anything, you have to adapt the character to what you want to do. Apparently my character is like very suspicious originally. Like the prefab character is meant to be very suspicious of everyone else, comes from a background where they were meant to be the heir to the family fortune and to the title and all, but because they chose wizardry, the younger brother got it. We kind of kept some of that there, but it's hard to run a coherent campaign and be part of a group that meshes if you're being really paranoid from the start. Like, how are you supposed to form bonds or relationships that way? So we kind of threw that part out, and we built our own way about it, where it became suspicious of everyone other than us. And that worked kind of nicely because we built some good moments.
I remember the first day we played, I didn't really understand, like, the character flaw thing or whatever it was, like, where you have, like, traits that you have to do, and if you don't, you get, like, punished for it. I can't mind what the thing was that happened, but I remember, like, there was like a guy that wanted me to do a scheme, and I just said no because I would lose money, and my character was a money grubber. There's the way I was playing her. And then the next campaign I realised flat out, I was like, I had to do that. Like I should have done that because my character flaw was I would do that even to my detriment. I should. But now to look back, it's like there's one thing I would say is like make sure you do read like the certain like character things, because like the character flaws, like you have to follow like in the way you did, like you changed it from being paranoid.
It does help then with the role play if that's what you're
really
into.
It really does, especially if you struggle like I do. Like we like diversifying your characters out. Like changing up like how your characters are played.
We did end up then. How could you ever forget with the infamous licenses? Because my character had the ability to write, which we interpreted to mean, well, most people in Warhammer probably can't read, so therefore I'm probably a really good forger. And all we did, our workaround for absolutely everything, was for me to, we would try and find some kind of official who had the authority to do the thing we wanted to do, and then forge a note or a license, and we basically went around handing out, do you have a license for that? And we would fine people for not having licenses that only we would issue.
I just imagine it's just you walking away with like a rectangle and like cardboard cut out that just says cops. Just on the front of it, they're just like
closer to Parks and Rec whenever Ron Swanson goes, I have a license, and pulls out a sheet of paper that says, I do what I want. And then of course our Witchfinder, who we kind of forced Quaddle to explain the chain of command, and what we interpreted then as our pet Witchfinder reporting directly through a chain of command to the Emperor himself.
I know, like that.
Always emphasizing in the subtitles.
That was weird lore, though. No, that was weird in the lore. That like the way they explained it was like the way you explained it.
There's the Witchfinder General.
The Witchfinder General, and the only person a Witchfinder speaks to is the General. It basically supersedes command over most hours. So
we just went to reports through a chain of command directly to the Emperor.
Addy, wasn't it? Was the Addy basically had like free right even without the licenses. She had free right. They basically tell anybody at any time, anywhere, no, I can do what I want, but still went through the scheme because it was funnier.
It was hilarious. We did. What was the one we did? There was this the freak show, and there was the guy had the mutated dog. So we forced him to pay us to give him a license that he could have his dog. We then, I can't remember if it was accidentally or on purpose, we broke the dog out The dog escaped. We have fined him again for having an escaped mutant, and then we kept the dog as a pet. And also we accidentally, that was it. Yes, I tried to attack the dog. Who was it threw the axe?
Not me.
Somebody threw an axe.
That's
Yeah, I
probably
think it was
what it was.
Owen threw an axe.
He was playing the
He was
Slayer, so
Yeah.
it would have been.
So that was it. He
He
threw the
played the
axe
Slayer.
at this escaping mutated dog, missed, but he missed horribly, cutting off somebody's arm. But then his failure was that it was the exact opposite of what he intended to happen. So he hit somebody so badly with the axe that their arm grew back.
What?
Was how we interpreted that.
We can come back to that because there was actually a lot of DM shenanigans for that particular encounter because the way the book is very specific about it, that there's like a certain thing that's supposed to happen, and I had to like come up with like my own way of working around it. We can come back to that.
I still made sure it happened,
Yeah.
but you made it funny at least. Like,
So like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is very rules dense, and we simplified a lot of it. So for example, there's 4 types of tests, so 4 types of roll you can do: simple, dramatic, opposed, and extended. We only ever use simple.
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't have understood anything
Yeah.
else, honestly.
Yeah,
We
simple
didn't,
is just-
meet often enough.
Yeah.
All of us being there enough to justify using that many rules. You simply couldn't have kept up with it.
Yeah. One thing I did like is the initiative system.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being like everyone rolls for initiative, we had like static abilities. It was initiative was static. So when we sat down at the table, I initially wanted you to organize yourself in the order that you would have been in person. Then you were like, fuck that one. And they just like sat where you were. But you knew who was next, so that was good. But like in my head, it would have made a lot more sense if we just like went around the table in order.
Well, but most of the time,
It definitely would have, but at that point, we all had our seats. And
you
you know what we're like?
but
It's
I'm-
my seat now. Fuck you.
But I'm also a fashionista and I must show up late. Like, that's just a thing with me.
Uh-huh.
I think the only times I didn't show up late was whenever you came and picked me up.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Well,
Like,
apparently she had an excuse. You were coming from the train.
oh, I fair actually. And there's back in the cold rain days.
Yes, let's get back to the enemy then, the actual campaign.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't worry about it. There's a lot of stuff that's in the book that's sort of like the DM knows, but there's no obvious way to tell the players about it without like spoiling big parts of it. So the group that you were antagonistic against was called the Order of the Purple Hand, where the guy you met, who you found dead, Castor Libron, he was a Magister Impedimenti in the Order of the Purple Hand. So that's this like Tzeentch cult. Tzeentch is one of the Chaos Gods in Warhammer, and he was part of one of their cults. And Castor Libron looked surprisingly like Fenton's character.
Yes. And we tried to scam them. Because that was our default go-to.
You have no license for that.
Like the book sort of expects you to take that stance because you're given like documentation saying this person is this person and that they're due to inherit a large fortune. So
Yeah.
you were all just collectively like, let's go do this, which is what the module wanted you to do.
Yeah. We ended up killing the real one, didn't we? Or was he already dead? By the
He was
time
already dead. Yeah. He was traveling in a carriage and was attacked by mutants.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoilers for the campaign. I assume most of the people who watch this are DMs. If you're like you made it this far, I don't know what you're doing here. If you're planning on playing this, why are you even listening to this? So yeah, the encounter with mutants, and we had this interesting explanation where there are physical and mental mutations. We came across someone who was eating flesh with other mutants, but all of his mutations were physical, not mental. So he had the mind of a normal person, but his body was so corrupted that he had to live like on the fringes of society and sort of hunt with these mutants and hang around with mutants only.
Kind of like gingers.
Hey,
No, mutants still have souls. I thought.
hey, not even ginger. I just take offense to it because they're hot.
I have a ginger beard. My mom once asked me if I dyed my beard because of how ginger it is. I was like, no, this is the way it looks.
It's almost like you've got Irish genetics hidden in there somewhere. Hey, so you know that gene, like the redhead gene, does not disappear. Hey,
No.
that's my life now. Hey, I'm just gonna have all redhead wings and gonna be like, ugh. Apologise to any redheads.
You said they're hot. They're grand.
True. They're a bit of both.
I have a ginger beard. I'm hot from the neck down.
So we went through Wanted Bold Adventure. That was with you got a lot of rumors. There was a lot of NPCs to meet. The mistaken identity case with the mutants and the body double, and then the law arrived, and you all sort of
The law.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait until we do like a Warhammer 40k or like orcs.
I have a starter set for
We
Warhammer
have
40K.
as like an orc campaign because we gotta.
It's Wrath and Glory. I think it's an Imperial campaign, but
course it is.
but I mean that's just sort of the way Warhammer 40k
Of
is.
course.
Everything's
Everything's.
Imperium,
It's
so.
always all about like an
Yeah.
emperor.
I would be interested in running a different system. Apparently, it's also I haven't actually opened the box. I just bought it because I was like 40k. Yes.
See, there's a thing. Like by the way my roto works too, I know my actual schedule now up until next year.
It's great.
I actually know when it worked.
I also know your schedule up until next year.
Oh God.
It's very, very useful whenever I'm trying to get hold of other Patrick, because I could just look through his schedule first and be like, oh, he's available Friday night. Oi, be there.
I know. The same thing. He's coming out in the next couple of days. This is for everybody in the podcast too.
So that's pretty much all of that. Next was the section called Heart of the Empire, which is based in Altdorf, which is sort of like the capital of the Empire.
I remember that.
This was us trying to make our way. This was whenever we met your ex-husband on the barge, and you
Oh,
rekindled your romance. And
Yeah,
we.
rekindled the romance and.
This
had a
was
wee-
the time whenever was it just me and you, or was it just me and Owen showed up? And basically between us, we were just incredibly efficient and just blasted
There's
through.
like no roleplay, let's just get as much story.
I know.
as we
Pretty
can.
sure it was like you know one only with that there game. Yeah.
That was great. So it
'Cause-
was. We just got through
Oh
so
no!
much.
Any campaign we have like me sitting there, it's going to just be 90% roleplay because I don't know what I'm doing. Or else I'm just going to be sitting there just throwing things at people if I'm not roleplay.
Yeah, there's lots of really cool, like sort of like sprinkled in encounters there, where there's like the Street of 100 Taverns, where you all went in and met up with your ex-husband, the boatman. I forget his name, but he rides a boat called the Barabelli.
Right. What was it? I can't remember now what we decided his name was.
I have the book here. We might have came up with a different name that's not in the book, but I can.
No,
look
I'm
over
pretty
it.
sure we just went with a book name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's the Heart of the Empire, page 35.
He was I'll never remember his name, but the wee schemer I said naughty at the very start of the campaign too. Hey?
I could look it up if you.
Yeah, well, we
But,
could have been for that.
It wasn't Henry, was it? No.
No, it wasn't Henry.
I think Henry was another one of my husbands though.
Joseph Quartian.
Joseph, that's right. Stalin.
Yeah, Joseph. There was so twice in the campaign, there's encounters with these manic street preachers who are just talking nonsense, and none of these took them on seriously. But they give major spoilers for what's about. to happen.
No. Was it not like the pigs in the streets or whatever? Pigs in the streets. Or,
Hmm.
I know. I remember like that. There, we just couldn't. No. That was Fenton's campaign. You see now there's manic people popping up everywhere telling you crucial advice.
Yeah, there's a good rule of thumb that if in Derry, if in Derry,
Even Derry manic people pop up and give you advice.
listen to them.
You know what I mean? Hey, if somebody's in the bank garden, they tell you they need £2, they go to the bus. Remember, they're serious.
Also, they will follow you home.
Yeah, and then there's also the first encounter with Adolphus. Do you remember Adolphus, the bounty hunter?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's called Bolts in the Dark, where you're just sort of getting on the Barabelli, and all of a sudden these like arrows fly by from like a crossbow or a bow and arrow, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? What's going on? Yeah. Yeah, lots of cool encounters in the Empire. There was one where the Emperor like parades through the streets. If you remember that.
I don't remember the Emperor parading through the streets as my character being like imperial. I mean, acting like I was just a massive, like, what do you call it, communist or something like that. I was just like, the Emperor. Bleh.
Yeah.
And then I think Joseph was next to me going, but what do you mean? He keeps her seas. I feel like you were basically playing like the straight man that loves the Emperor. I was like, boo, boo this
This
guy.
is why we divorced.
Yeah, I was like, now I remember why. You goddamn capitalist.
Then from the Heart of the Empire we go on to Bogenhafen. This is where I introduced some of the side quests that were introduced in the companion. There was let me just click forward. So there was Emeretta. If you remember the werecat, she was a were something, but you didn't know she was a werecat. But I'm telling you, she was a werecat.
Oh, the one that we had to try and rescue.
Yeah.
This was the one I tried to flirt with.
Yeah.
Like, I know, I tried it. I was like, never had a furry before. Like, I remember, well, my character didn't say it, but what was that I said, like, in character or something like, oh, I've never had one with fur. It was something like that I said.
Yeah.
Oh, there's where I got the racist from. I wasn't even, like, from doing anything else or, like, hating people. It was because I was like, I kept calling them ones with fur.
Maybe that makes sense. Yeah, we were talking earlier about what your character was like secretly racist towards, and I was like, I don't remember. Apparently, it's were people.
It wasn't even it's like not even racist. It just has a thing and always points out that they want their fur. Kind of treat that, I suppose, because I was playing like a ranger-esque character. I was kind of thinking, I'm like,
yeah,
prey.
And then the other one, in retrospect, I should have toned down the amount of money we gave, which we'll come to later. But there was a friend in need where the ghost came to you. Do you remember the ghost?
Yes.
So there was this ghost who basically wanted his body to be interred and properly taken care of, and in response he gave you 4 gems worth 15 gold pieces each, which is just crazy money for the campaign. To be honest, it was just too.
We were sorted now from the rest. Like if we needed anything, it was just because everything was worth bronze and silver, which was, I suppose you probably didn't think that. You're probably more used to D&D logic yourself.
You're like, oh,
15 gold's a decent amount of gold, you know, like for a sturdy campaign, like, you know, especially like, you know, like what. Were we like level 5, 6?
It's just too much. I think maybe one 15 gold piece gem might be more appropriate. Just giving 60 was it just tipped the scales in what you could do.
It did. Well, also then the fact that
Warhammer's meant
we got another load of money whenever we came round. Skipping forward a wee bit here, but whenever we blackmailed that guy. And I think you definitely gave us too much money there.
They cheated the system too, kind of like where they were getting more money than you should. Like, if you were to actually play the rules of Warhammer, there's no way God's green earth they ever would even got the license.
We would not have been able to do half of the stuff we actually
because
did.
You would have done some roll or something or used some form of magic. They'd be able to just be like, no, you're done.
Yeah.
Now you're all in prison and you're going to have a shit time because this is how Warhammer works.
I was pretty laissez-faire with the rules. I just sort of let the fun
happen, you're being blasé because it's probably like your first proper campaign. I'm guessing you were playing.
It was the first time playing this system.
I've never I was very happy to play because even at that with D&D, last time I played before I started playing with you D&D ways again, it was like what 3.5. I played when I was a kid, like whenever I played D&D, like January, like 12 or 13. Started playing with you again. I was already struggling enough with D&D, but we role playing 5e. That's pure handy.
Yeah.
And I thought whenever we were playing this, I was like, oh. I'm not going to be able to role play as much as I want to. No, we didn't. Yeah. we just role played anyway.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
So the next thing on the trip to Bogenhafen, you stopped off at an old town called Weisbruck. You ran into Adolphus again, and he attacked the Barabelli, and there was a whole thing where they started a fire. And do you want to take over from there?
Oh man, no, I don't. I remember parts and pieces, like for example, I was only there for like snippets of the campaign. Fair to you, I was always in Worker and Coleraine. Good luck hunting. You were there for all of them.
Nearly all of them. Was I there for this one? You probably remind me what we did.
So it was in Weisbruck. It was on the trip to Bogenhafen, and Adolphus attacked the Barabelli, and they set fire to it.
Yes, the boat. Yeah. Yes, I remember that there. So they came down, we fought in, we killed most of them, and you definitely, you were there. You were there.
I remember.
You were there because that was what happened. We could tell Cuddle was desperately trying to let some of them escape, and you just kept sniping them. They're like, how many's left? 3. No, there's 2 of them left now. Where is he? Can I still see him? Okay, there's 1 left. Cuddle's like, no, you definitely can't see it. Can I go after him? No, you can't go after him.
It's important for a part later that he survived. I was sort of forcing your hand, but
it was quite because we could tell that. We could kind of tell you were desperately letting one survive. We were like, no, all of them dead.
You know, if we're talking kill streaks, I had the highest kill streak. Or the highest kill count, definitely amongst our group. It was me or you, it had to be, but I was really up there. Like everybody I had with that bola died. Like every single
like
person.
David and Goliath, where you just took a sling and just like knocked down these giant bullies.
No man, what was it with the mutants in their first at the very start of the first campaign? There was like 4 of them there. Addy would do something, or you would do something. It would do a good bit of damage. Be like, oh, they're heavily injured. Their arms blown off or whatever. I'd be like, I bola this guy, dead. Like, and it never changed. I was expecting to go and fight a boss if I was there for it, like the BBEG or like in this campaign. I'm telling you, I had a 3-shot him.
Then on to Bogenhafen itself, which is the second half of the adventure. It's got this lovely art, which I couldn't show to you during the campaign.
Oh my god,
It's a demon of Zinch.
Oh, is that there? Oh, right.
Was that the thing that we found dead?
Yeah, that's the thing we found dead apparently, but it only had 1 horn, didn't it? I think one of them was tuck off or something. Can't remember from that though, because that there was a while ago.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it. So in Bogenhafen, the first one...
I love Warhammer's art, sorry, that's just a wee tangent there, jeepers. Oh man, I like Warhammer and like 40k and all them are, like anytime you see like Slanesh art or any of these things, it's just beautiful, every time.
So the first thing you did in Bogenhafen was the Inheritance, where there was this like trap set by Adolphus, and there was like a big showdown with him. To be honest, most of his men have been killed, and it was pretty easily. Actually, no. He like you were like barricaded in, and while he was in there, he got attacked by a demon of Zinch, and so you came out this like mist. Yeah, and that was you didn't know it was a demon of Zinch, but.
Oh god, no, of course we didn't know at that time. Like so, and now looking back, we're like you're like aha, and then we're just sitting here like yeah.
That makes sense.
It does make sense now, but because again, even like we had like the picture, we seen the pictures, it was a demon of some kind, like, but even at that, like we had the pictures, the way you described them, we're still sitting there going, oh, this could see because it's Warhammer especially, and I don't know the difference. I'm still struggling between fantasy and 40k because I'm fairly sure the Emperor's still on fantasy.
Yeah, there is an Emperor, but it's not the same Emperor.
Is it not the same one? I thought he was a perpetual from like the start, like of fucking humanity or whatever.
To be honest, I'm not the Warhammer nerd.
Oh no, I'm just beginning. Man, there's like what 400 books and 40 of them are about the Horus Heresy, and I've only read 2 of them, and I'm only on my 3rd one, and I have just I'm trying my best with it. And now Warhammer Fantasy, I bet it's got like probably like 60 books as well or something.
I mean, there was the whole. We're sorry, not talking about. There's the whole Age of Sigmar thing, where they like killed off a load of the old world people and made into its own kind of like 40k, where there was like these like Imperial troops that like beamed down into the battlefield. I've seen like gameplay of people playing Age of Sigmar. It looked interesting, but then they brought back the old world. They were like, oh no, we're moving on from the old world, and then everyone got so upset for so long. They were like, I guess we'll bring it back.
Because what's the point of having fantasy 40k whenever you've got fantasy 40k in space?
Exactly.
Like just have it as fantasy. Like I agree with people on
Yeah,
that.
keep them separate because like Warhammer's its own thing now. It's
like I
40k is
like,
separate from fantasy.
I remember I didn't understand that for like a week whenever you were telling me like, oh, you want to come play Warhammer? I was like, yeah, no problem, I'm free. And then coming down, I was like, I'm going to be sitting there as an ultramarine, or else. I thought even like I was going to play as a Skaven or something. I was thinking more Warhammer, like the actual the computer game. And then I thought about it, I was like, nah, this is going to be even fun. And it was fun. Can you just imagine how dark and twisted it does actually get in the story? We didn't get too far.
Well, he's taking. We'll come to it. You had a strange ending.
You can say that again.
So let's keep on track going through chronologically. So next was the Schaffenfest.
Yes, that was fun.
The Shafton Fest, as we all called it.
So the book there's lots of optional encounters in this where you just sort of sprinkle them in as you're like walking from one end to the other. Something will happen, but there's 2 key encounters: the drunken dwarf in the stocks and the runaway goblin. So there was the runaway goblin was the one where I'm forgetting what exactly I did, but there was the guy who was showing off all these mutated creatures.
Yes.
And in the book, the goblin escapes and runs off, and you have to track him down.
It wasn't a dog; it was some goblin. That's right.
Yeah, but you guys just killed the goblin as he left, instead of chasing it. And so I was like, well, that's like a pretty important part of the story. Let me make something else escape so that I can just pretend that's what you're trying to track
So it
down.
was the dog.
So you had to try to track down the dog. So I just sort of like had to like move some things behind the screen and change some things. But yeah, they're
That was great fun though, that bit. Where we then just bullied the poor. Well, he wasn't like he was. He's still a con guy because he was trying to tell us this was a dragon you were looking at instead of just a mutated. What was he trying to tell us it was? He wasn't just saying it was a mutated goblin. He was trying to convince us it was something else. So he was scamming everybody. And then we told him he needed a license to do that.
You got a license for this, Gammon?
You got a license for that? This license here is good for 1 year. You'll need to come back to us next year to get another
Have an
license.
addy with the English accent too, hey? You got a license for that. Beautiful.
And then Owen just took that and ran with it.
He's probably sitting there. What do you call it? What do you call him again? That Barry. What do you call him again? What do you call the boy? He always does the voice for. Oh, the voice. He
Christopher Walken.
No, not the Chris. The other one.
The voice he does.
Owen. He does walking, but he does the other one too. It's your man. Is it Barry something? He's on those.
Barry White.
No.
Where he rocks the balls.
I'm not sure.
No, I think it off. I'll look it up here.
Barry the Blender Henderson.
No, that's a voice.
Radabuchi, or is the Japanese say?
He thought we were calling him Barry the Blender Henderson, but really we were calling him Barry the Bender Henderson.
You bender.
Yeah, Bender.
Favorite
But he
band?
was hearing.
Elastic.
Yeah, Bender. But he was hearing. Yeah, Blender.
Lots of references that our American viewers won't understand.
Uh,
Like most people watch this.
I go watch it.
there's a rabbit hole for you. Barry the Blender Henderson by Colin Geddes.
It's called. Was it Fight?
Colin Geddes is actually a popular Irish comedian now, so
Yeah.
go watch his old stuff. You'll appreciate it.
And then
before
also
it's
check
popular.
out Culchy Strip Clubs, because that is perhaps the funniest 3 minutes of podcast comedy ever.
Do yourself a favour and go watch Streets of Glenfata as well. If we're going to go on the dairy stuff, like, might as well go hard.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff you did at the Chaffin Fest. There was like the jousting,
Yes.
the
Okay.
wrestling.
We weren't good at the jousting.
I think I was away from. I think I wasn't here.
We weren't good at the jousting or the wrestling.
Like for
There was like
most-
escaped livestock you had to deal with.
Yeah, that was handy enough. Then there, like you said, there was a dwarf in the stocks.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
there's like a random events table that you can do.
I'm raging I wasn't there for that because I would have made that dwarf from the stocks my third husband. Like, I really would have. Like, I would have definitely have like told you like at the end of the campaign. So we that's the third one. We're gonna have to save him now.
Yeah, so those are really cool rumors where you just like hand them out to the players. Where some of them are just sort of setting the scene. Some of them do give you actual clues.
I like how Warhammer Fantasy does that for the DM too. Though, like it helps you like rather than you have to like really like come up with like some side encounters along with the main story. They like beef it out.
I think the Chatham Fest is my favorite part of the Shadow of a Broken Happened.
Yeah, it seems like it has the most characters and the most like interactions, other than like the 100 Tavern like street, because you could just choose to go to any of the bars.
Yeah.
Like, well, what was it? You gave us like 4 options or 3 options.
Yeah.
And we like I'm guessing each of them bars had like their own set of people and their own things.
So the next section is Into Darkness, which is where you first went into the sewers and you found the hidden temple with the what's it called? 8 octagon? Not octagon. It's like octagram.
Oh, the
octagram.
octagram.
Octagram. I was
octagram.
like, what's 8 for pentagram? Octagram.
As somebody that's just watched or just read the novel of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, yes, they are called the Octagon.
the octagram.
They're the Octagram, my head's right. 12-hour shift kills.
Yeah, like battle with a demon, I believe.
Yeah, so we found that was that we were following the feathers,
Mm-hmm.
and we used the feathers to decorate. Yes, the sewers. We had to spend ages going through sewers. That pub. Did we find the pub before we went into the sewers?
It was a later part of the sewers, but it wasn't in that part of the adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sewers play a major role in this module.
Yeah. Remember that poor guy that we convinced to come help us through the sewers. I'm pretty sure he was like the mayor. No, that was it. He was the mayor's assistant, and we just basically.
Oh, that's a guy I thought was like Smithers.
Is this the guy you were trying to show the
Yes, we were trying to show, but we accidentally like dismembered him and nearly killed him, and then we just abandoned him out the back of the pub.
You and Addy were actual monsters in this campaign, like.
Oh, hey, we weren't. That wasn't even us going full murder hobo. That was us just
were-
behaving
no, you-
standard Warhammer
Aye,
fantasy
that's-
characters.
But that's what I mean. Now, we're going.
We're not the good guys
You're
here.
just going murder hobo in terms of D&D and Warhammer. That's pretty common. Like in
Yeah.
terms of playing your average street urchin in the Warhammer. Like.
Because
I
in
can't believe I
Warhammer,
played it
there's
so
always
good.
something worse.
I really did just play like such a happy character, just blowing the brains off of people with a bowl. Like it was, I'm blowing the brains off of people in the bedroom too. Apparently, but hey,
Yeah.
boom toast.
So the most confusing, in my opinion, part is the Chasing Shadows, chapter 8. It's kind of like a sandbox, because up until now it's been pretty railroady. You've been just sort of like ferried from one location to the
Yeah.
next. And
Yeah.
there was like lots of side things to do, but you were like on a central path.
Yeah.
It felt like a
Whereas-
straight line.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, like every street I was in kind
Yeah.
of felt like you're just going
Yeah.
narrow.
But Chasing Shadows is where it first opens up into quite sandboxy, and for that reason, there's a lot of information just dropped on the DM, and it's really hard to prepare.
Look
Like,
at it all.
Yeah, like
That's a lot.
I went. Oh, this I'm not even done. Like I was making my own notes for today, just prepping. And I was
For-
like, how did I even run this?
For
Like,
viewers' reference, this man's flicked through about 12 pages. Normally, the pages have been like 4 or 5
Oh, yeah.
pages per like
Yeah.
chapter.
there's like 20 pages just on this one section, and you get to prep all of it because you don't know what your players are going to do. And there's like a day by day breakdown of what like they expect you to do, and all these things that happen to you. As
I
a
love
result
how I love how it's the DM that gets railroaded by the book. more
Yeah.
than the players
So
do.
the game gets railed, but
Yeah.
the amount of prep that goes into this part is just ungodly.
And then you have me not showing up. For
And then, but then the worst part
50%
is the amount of prep you have to do for it, only for us to do something that nobody could have foreseen. And all your prep kind of goes straight out the window.
like
Yeah.
me not fucking showing up.
Well, that too.
Yeah, so so it breaks it down through day 1 through day 4 of because this is sort of when the cult is beginning to enact its ritual. So there's the encounter with Dr. Malthusius, who was the guy who lost the goblin, and he gives you some information. There's another madman in the square, who is there on day 2, and he again gives you a lot of information that is actually really important and really prescient. It sort of makes sense in retrospect, but if you really written down everything he says, you would understand exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He farted. Don't worry about it.
Cracking up in a cold one with the boys.
I am Irish.
That was day 2. Day 3. Day 2. So there is a letter that is just dropped out of the pocket of one of the characters. It's so weird why this is included. It seems like it's such a throwaway thing. It gives the players information about what happened, about what's happening, because it's a letter from one character to another, talking about like when the cult will be meeting and all this sort of stuff. I feel like you could have done it better.
Definitely. Was this also the same time when the boys showed up in the square and started giving me the secret signal?
Oh, like whenever the boy
Which
just
I
started,
completely did not understand.
I know you're on about like the boy just started like basically like
What was it? He gave the like starts flicking his ear with his pinky or something.
Yeah.
It was basically like not thieves' Kent, but it was like a thieves like signal.
Yeah, there was. I explain this. I showed you what the correct response was, but you just weren't paying attention.
I don't think I was.
Because
This one.
I showed you these two people interacting. One of them took the pinky out of his right hand and scratched his left ear, and the other one raised his eyebrows and flipped his head back. And that is the correct response. But I did this in front of you, and none of you took it on.
Nope. Nope. Just watched you with both eyes, all 10 toes in the ground, in one ear, in one eyeball, and straight out the back of the head. And I was just sitting there, and you kept bringing the character back and trying more, like scratching his ear harder and harder at me, and me giving every other signal like I was doing the Sting one where he rubs the side of his nose in response.
because the reason why that kept coming up because you were the body clone of the Magister Impedimenta.
Yeah.
So they thought that you were part of the cult, and they were giving you the signal, trying to see if you were part of the cult.
Only for me to respond by eventually having a shootout with them.
Most useless body clone ever.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, meant to be a body double, is literally the biggest traitor amongst them all. Without even realising, because you know, like the way we
Well,
play.
it got us fucked over then because the good guys thought we were the bad guys too.
You see, I'm surprised. Like, did you know from the start? No, like you know, like from the start of the campaign. I'm guessing no, you just learned that like near the end.
This is something I have found out in the last 30 seconds.
Oh, I thought you knew it like at the end of the campaign.
No, so there was a lot of information that was supposed to be given out right at the end of the campaign, but we'll get to how the campaign ended. But
the short story is that by the end, Codal was so fucked he wasn't giving a shit. Wouldn't have given us a glass of water, never mind information.
I know. I was about to say, and as well, I was working too much by this point. Like, so I think I was off for like 3 or 4 parts of the campaign near the end. So I think it was just Molly's basically just sitting there in the background, probably just boinking away, probably having more husbands, probably getting married again. Knowing her, she's on her 7th.
You went to the Steinhager offices where you tried to blackmail one of the guys.
Blackmail.
And that was whenever he tried to betray his brother.
Yeah, there were 2 brothers. 2 brothers.
2 brothers.
For those who don't get that reference, you might not have an high enough IQ to understand that.
Stop.
But,
I don't get it either.
there was Heinrich Steinhager and the other guy, I forget his name, Franz. There's like a brother trying to like get rid of the other brother to like get his fortune.
Yeah.
And you sort of worked with him, but then
that was the one who we then blackmailed. He was like, what was it? He paid us for killing his brother. Only the thing was we'd actually killed his brother already. We just hadn't told him. Then we just waited a day and delivered his brother to him in a wheelbarrow. At which point he tried, because we were convinced there was some way from those offices into the sewers. Because there was in the sewers from where we had found the body of the demon, or the octogram. There were
the octopentagram,
the octopento thingy-grams. Grams of octs and
grams of octopi,
and there was ways up into houses, but we couldn't work out which house belonged to which. But we just knew this guy was involved, so we assumed that somewhere in this office there was a way down into the sewers. We never found it.
Yeah, one thing you did really late on that the mods expect you to do pretty much straight away is once the sewers are described as being important, it's expected that you just make a map. And you guys did that really late on in the campaign.
But again, like that's something, and like what is it again? It's not just Warhammer. There's a couple of like there's a couple of tabletop games where that seems to be so important. Where it's like you basically always say stuff like, "I make a map, I draw our way, I do this, I do that." Because we're so used to D&D, it's just kind of expected that you have someone that's just already basically the map maker, and like it's just all basically pre-done.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Warhammer, if you
it's
don't
not
say
until
it,
you play
doesn't
something
happen.
else you realise just how much D&D holds your hand.
Yeah, no, that is what I mean. But like like at the end of like every session, I had to go to you. Oh, I'm sorry, I did pick up every piece of ammo that I used in this session, unless I critically failed or anything where you would destroy them. So I think like at the start,
I critically failed and my rock is destroyed.
Well, that was like the worst I could get was whenever I critically failed.
Realistically, the worst that should have happened would have been.
No, I never critically failed. The worst fail I had was my bola snapped. I had to go, but we were right next to town. It was the end of the fight, and it was like my bola snapped, and then like somebody took him out, so I just got a new bola. It was like a stronger leather bola. It was like +1 or something. So it was just. Well, I don't know how it works in Warhammer. It's probably like +1 or something like that. But I just remember whenever I got that bola, it was like I went from like nearly killing everything in one hit. Literally everything died in one hit after I got the second bola. It was amazing.
Next thing in the book is the Golden Trout. It was this like meeting you had with one of the members of the Ordo Separatus or Rebus Prince, the guy Magirius.
Oh, will I say that again? I did not hear what you said.
Ordo Septenaris.
I want it.
The order don't release the teeth.
I heard you like muttering it because you don't want people to hear us like saying louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, I didn't have it written down from me. If I did, I could have said it a bit easier.
Oh, the man I'm
but I think he does actually mention Ordo Septenarius. Yeah, Ordo Septenarius, which is the 7 people in the sort of the cult. But he basically gives you a walk down where he describes it being a bit more like the Freemasons rather than like a cult, and he sort of says that they're like a lot of
the same difference, bro.
No, he just sort of says that they're very like charitable and they're sort of like working together for the greater good of the people, and he doesn't explicitly tell you about
the greater good.
Yeah, yeah, he's Tao. No. He sort of breaks it down and gives you like a lot of information about the order, which a little bit later in the next possession, he comes back to you and tells you about Tugan's plan. Tugan is like the leader of the Ordo Septenarius, and he tells you, gives you a big lowdown about. He gives you a letter, signing it, telling you about. What they're planning on doing, that there's like a demon cult that is planning on bringing demons to the world, opening up a rift, and that it requires human sacrifice. And then he goes back to his house and he asks you to meet him there, and by the time you get there he's already been murdered, and you are like framed for his murder. I don't know if you remember this part.
Don't think I was there. This was near the end of the campaign, wasn't it? Yeah, no, I don't think I was here for like the last.
Then you were definitely after the session.
Yeah.
Do you remember it was like you went to this house and then there was like scrawling on, there was like a scratch or blood painted on the side of a desk, and you like escaped through the back over a wall, or no, you skipped to the front and you like set off a grenade or something, or a fire. What ball
was this whenever we tried going to like the mayor's house?
It wasn't the mayor's house. It was.
And we got it there and they were already dead and they were surrounded.
That's literally what he's just saying.
Aye, no, was it not? I thought that was we were trying to go to the mayor's house and we get there, they're already dead, and then we get surrounded by like the people who have been tracking us all this time outside, who then probably get slaughtered by the demon. Is that
no,
the one?
that was earlier on in the campaign.
It's a different person that was in a house that we were waiting for the guy. Fucking Warhammer.
This has a
I apologize
slightly uncomfortable theme.
That was Adolphus.
Yeah, his name was Adolphus. Of course, he died. He had to.
I apologize for cursing. I was brought up in a sailor's family. Probably needs edited if you do
that. Yeah. So there was the murder that happened, and then there was the ritual. Now, in the book, there's like a meeting that you knew about, and then later on there would be the actual ritual site, which is like a warehouse. But do you want to explain how the campaign ended?
So,
Mr. Body Double.
This kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about you have to be careful about how much money you hand out.
Yeah.
Because after having blackmailed this guy, at this point Colin was just a tad fed up with us. So he just let us blackmail the guy for as much money as we wanted. It was like 100 gold each, which is absolutely absurd. We could have bought and sold the entire city for that.
I probably had like 100 gold myself as a character.
Yeah.
Because I think I was like money scrounging the entire campaign too. So any penny I had, I didn't spend other than on me bowl. No, because Owen bought my bullet for me.
Yes.
Because he was trying to give me a good gesture. So I spent no money that entire campaign.
Yeah.
Because we got the boat for free because it was my husband. Or my ex-husband. So we got that for free, or else it was really on the cheap.
Mm-hmm.
We got like a lot of free drinks in the first bar. I remember that was something that happened. What was it? I had like the drinking was what taught me about the roll. Like the rolling. We'll go right back to the start. What taught me about the Warhammer rolling system was the drinking.
Yeah.
Because what I got away with the first two, everybody else was literally dead after one drink. Like they were floored, passed out. I was like, I'll try a third one. And the third one I failed a spectacular fail, and I was just done for. I think for like the next the next session, like the entire next session too. My character was just useless, like completely useless. Just from a couple of drinks, like one drink messes you
It
up
should
as
tell
a
you everything you
mental.
need to know about Warhammer, where a skill is called consume alcohol.
Yeah, I was raging too because I knew I was a halfling, but I really thought I was like, oh, I must have like a decent consume. Fair enough, my consume alcohol was like higher than I think like most of the parties. I think it was higher than yours, and
But still, 3 drinks.
I think-
drinks put you in your ass in a case of art imitating life.
So we'll get back to actually describing how the campaign ended.
Yeah. So basically, we went to a merchant and we decided to purchase as much armament as we possibly could. And we asked Colin for a list of things we could buy. And this was a problem with the rules, where the only thing was it allowed you to roll whether or not to see if the merchant had the items. There was no thing for rolling to see
Yeah.
how much
Oh,
the merchant had.
You had to
So
roll
we
a code,
spent our many hundreds of gold buying his entire supply of black powder, which is enough to make the equivalent of a tactical nuke.
He's basically just
So we-
D&D. We had a D&D the ending because
We basically,
didn't
instead
really
of-
understand it. I was
No,
there
no,
for it.
we were there, and we'd found the building. We knew what was going down. There was going to be the ritual. There was a whole big battle planned. That was it. Yes, our witch hunter had used their authority as a witch hunter to coerce the town's garrison into storming the building. At the time this was happening, I was trudging back through the sewers with a shitload of black powder, ready to Guy Fawkes the place. And I then ran back through the sewers. We sent in the town's guard, who were all horribly corrupt and had tried to kill us, so we didn't really care that much about them. We gave them a proper, really good pep talk and sent them in. Because all with their ranks had basically already been thinned out. We'd taken out the ones who were sympathetic to the devil worship. These were kind of the good guys. The less corrupt guys were left. We sent them in, and then at the appropriate juncture, we all stood outside and just blew the place to hell. And I've never seen anybody look as thoroughly disgusted as Conal did that day. Because I asked him, he's sitting there going, "Yeah, it's over. They're dead. You won. You've blown them all up. There's nothing left. There's a crater in the ground. It's all gone. The demons, everything's gone." And I had to look at him and go, Did you have a BBE monologue planned? Did you have an evil guy monologue that you were planning and waiting for this? And he goes, "Doesn't matter. He's dead."
No,
I bought minis for the final showdown of demons.
Oh no.
I bought these Warhammer Age of Sigmar minis that were roughly painted, and I was great. And I was messaging the eBay seller, been "Oh, I need them by Wednesday. Can you give me expedited shipping?"
that's what you get for being your wee time framey self. That's your own fault there. So that's sometimes.
Oh, fuck, now I feel really bad.
No. Now he gets his wee Age of Sigmar miniatures that he gets to look at, but that was a great campaign. And boys are massive mess about it. All they do is just mess. And saying that, I was raging. I wasn't there for the ending, but at the same time, whenever I heard it happen, the first thing I thought was, I think at least 2 of the last 3 ex-wives or husbands we didn't meet, because half the city got caught in that explosion. They're dead.
Yeah, we wrecked the place.
And at least 5 or 6 of my wings would be gone too. So I was thinking along the lines of my character after this campaign. I would love to go back to Molly again now if there ever was another time, because I character are dead. Franz and it was Franz and what was Addie's character, the witch hunter? We don't know that, do we?
I don't know off the top of my head. Where's my phone?
No, neither do I. Because obviously, but I have no idea where your phone is there. Sorry.
Okay.
But I remember. If I was to go back, I'd probably stick Ebola in both their heads. If we had to do the campaign for a second time, just because, my family.
Yeah, I don't know what my phone is. Anyway, yeah. So the campaign does continue on. There's 4 more books. The next one's called Death on the Reich, which I haven't properly prepped because we never actually ran it. But it's kind of a continuation on the same story with the same characters. But there's kind of this lull where you're just working as merchants trading up and down the Reich River, and it's just sort of this really nice sort of chill for a few sessions, sort of a bit of a refresher after the chaos and whatever you're just experiencing.
Of course, especially
experience,
especially what happened at the end of your campaign.
Yeah. So yeah, I would be interested in running Warhammer again. It's just we had to rule of cool a lot of stuff because of how like rules
This time we wouldn't. I don't
No.
think. I think this time
we
we
would
probably.
actually try and go by the rules and
What
actually.
level would we be at this point now in like the SEG campaign? Because like you start off at 5, wasn't it?
So the way leveling works in Warhammer is kind of weird. Where there are 4 levels kind of for each class, which is
Yeah.
just called your career, and it's like you start off as like.
I was a Prowler, a Piper, and a Thief. I think they were my careers under my like class.
Yeah.
Like so they were like so at there would be they would have their own individual levels. I'm
Yeah.
guessing there.
So you sort of like a level up, and I think you have to spend a certain amount of XP leveling up certain stats to actually get the next like level. And when you do level up, you get new what's called trappings and well, I think it's just trappings, which is like better armor.
That's where I got my
yeah.
weaponry from and stuff like was because of those 3 backgrounds because I had like a couple of wee things I was like why do I have this like it feels like for example my character is a thief but because of like the backgrounds of was it here I'm going to look it up here just quickly just to make
We
sure it
were
was Piper
very
and
diligent about looting everything and anybody that we killed.
It's weird,
If
again,
it wasn't
that's
nailed down, we lifted it and
again,
took it.
but my character too. Like I remember, like every time they were dead, I was like my character gold hunts. Like I
Aye.
jumped in for the gold.
You were always looking for the gold. I was more looking for
Any
items,
stones,
armor.
Too. It was like any
things.
stones or like the rounder the ball, the happier I was. I remember it's like if you see a round ball, give me.
But Molly, it's butter. I don't care. I want it.
It'll go through somebody's head. I believe me. And you know what I love
I'll
too?
paint it green and it will work.
I remember the character having like a feather like being really long, and I flavored it where it was double the size of what it is even on the character. So like it was like literally down to like me back. So it was like so I was running. I don't know why, but I just really liked the fact that I flavored it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here what it was. I was Prouder, Faith, and I think that's Piper, but Popper or Papier.
Popper.
Popper.
Popper means
beggar.
beggar.
I know it was like a beggar class, like but the Prouder I think must be like the Ranger class, like because I've felt very rangery with how I played it because I was like the one that was like tracking a lot and like doing things like that.
I was just
didn't
basically
feel very feathy.
I was just trying to upgrade my wizard abilities because I think I had to roll below something like 66 in order for my spells to work, and I was like,
no, you kept
2/3 ain't good enough.
No,
I
but
was
you were
feeling
literally
too
failing
much.
90% of the time, and
Horrendous consequences.
5% of the time you were passing, and then 5% of the time you had horrendous consequences.
Well, that was the thing. I
90%
immediately accept
no,
the consequences
no.
were generally for other
No,
people.
but they're fun though. Like you know, like but that's what I'm saying. Like 5% of the time you had consequences, 5% of the time you had a success, 90% of the time nothing happened. You just did a spell and just go.
Yeah, because I would pass, but not enough to do
really
enough damage.
I don't think I could ever play like a magic character in at least Warhammer Fantasy because it would just fry my head early game. I would have to play a late game Warhammer Fantasy would be fun. I reckon like for magic, but early
Once
game
you've got a bit of juice.
Yeah, because like you said, like 66, and it was like. No, it was like you had to get like a 1 at the start. It was like way lower. You had to get like such a low number.
No, but you got to remember 66 is the base, and then depending on how difficult it is, it adds or takes 10 away.
That's what it was. So it started at 66, and then like the
so you'd have to roll below like a 44.
And you had to roll
It was
like
a really
30.
good spell. It'd be more hard to do.
I got very lucky because like again bowling people in the head. He'd tell me 90 to hit, and I'd roll like a 10, and I just get like 10 points of success on a headshot. It's like beautiful. Like just wipe them out. But you're probably really cool in that as well because a lot of shots, because I remember they go body parts depending on your score too.
Yeah,
So it's probably like mostly legs or arm shots, and you're like, man, with the amount of damage, headshot.
Yeah.
Like because they still die either way. It's just cooler. They make it a pop.
I don't know. Maybe in the future I will run the second half of it because I've heard really good things about it. I've heard that the second half is good, and I've heard that the last one is good. They've redone. So there's 5 books: Enemy and Shadows, Death on the Reich. I want to say there's Power Behind the Throne is the 5th one. They've changed one to being a Skaven focused one, which I think could be cool. And I've forgotten the other one.
The Skaven focus one, I am I'm all in for, like, if I
Yeah.
can, I would love to be the Rat Man again, like, you know what I mean? The Rat Pack is back, baby. Like, you know what I mean, like?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. You could be, what do you call it? Sank Fernatra.
Thank for Natra.
You could be Sank Fernatra, the Rat Man.
Okay, so I got it. So it's Enemy in Shadows, Death on the Reich, Power Behind the Throne, The Horned Rat, and Empire in Ruins are the 5 books. I would be interested in coming back to it. I don't know. I'll chat these about it maybe. But I think we went into it with like it was mostly just like an in between kind of thing. It wasn't a super serious campaign. We just sort of wanted to take it easy and just sort of chill for a bit. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Skaven campaign. We got Mean Darton. We got Sank Fernatra.
So you're
What do you
fighting
call,
against the Skaven, not with them.
Leader Poffer.
Right.
No,
Anything else you want to add before we wrap up, or?
just that the Skaven campaign needs to be a Skaven campaign and not fighting against them. And that would be way better.
You could play as like a character that was like a slave who was like escaped from a Skaven man. That could be fun.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Don't make me edit it. I'll like these to be unedited. Please don't say it too scary.
No.
No, I mean it was a great time. The biggest issue, as with everything, was just scheduling, getting everybody there, and then trying to keep consistent with it, because there is so much to remember and go through. So if you are going to do this, you need to have somebody taking proper notes, not just the usual thing of writing down a bit here and there.
Need to have, like,
You have to properly document the whole thing.
All of these need to at least document what your character has done. That's like a big thing.
Yes.
I'd say, like, that, because I remember at least my character stuff, even though I was barely there. But that was more like, because I was just more doing story based things. Like, if you're actually doing things that are relevant or actually doing things that are going to mean something, keep notes, because they're going to come up. They really are.
Yeah, like the game does not hold your hand at all.
Oh,
if
not
you
at all.
if you don't keep the notes for it, you'll lose it, and then you'll remember it like 3 sessions later as you're dead.
I remember every campaign I would come onto yours, I'd ask you for a page and a pen, and I would write down everything, and the next campaign come on, or the next session come on, and be like, I lost my pen and page, and have to redo it all over again, and I regret that so hard, because it was a nightmare to do.
I started doing it on a notes pad on my phone.
Nah.
You see, I refuse to do that these days, because my notes pad got to like 100, 200 pieces long. I just deleted all that. I was like, I'm done with this, we're done with it. I've got like 3 notes now in my notepad. I'm like, no, I don't even like that anymore. I have to get a figure again.
Anyway, so that was episode on The Enemy Within and more generally Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in a fortnight's time. Bye.